God. Ask God.
Hey Scott, my name is Dan, and I just want to say thanks for all the breadth and depth of your podcasts and online information. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's fantastic. Kudos. Thanks for all you do, man. My question, given the importance of photographs and the time and money spent producing high quality images, should we watermark our photos? I don't know if this is allowed on Amazon. I can't imagine that it's not, but you never know. If it is allowed, do you recommend watermarking our photos to protect our investment and prevent others from stealing? That's my question. Thanks, man.
Hey, Dan, thank you so much for the question and thanks for the kind words. I really do appreciate it for all of you that actually reach out and, say how much the podcast or the blog or anything that I put out there has helped you in one way or another. I just want to say thank you for that. I do appreciate it and it means a lot to me. Okay, so to answer your question about images and watermarking them on the images, I've seen people do it. I don't think it's within the terms of service, to be honest with you, because some people could put a link that goes to a web URL. Maybe if there's just a C that you see with the circle around it that represents copyright, but then your name would have to be on it. So they have in there in their terms of service, as I read it, that you can't have any type of text graphics on there unless it's on the product. So to have it watermarked, that would be kind of like going against terms of service, right? But I've seen people do it. So to me personally, I don't do that, but I would make the image unique to your product. And I also would make sure that your brand is seen in that image. So if you have a garlic press and it's stamped with your brand name on it, make sure that in that image you see that. So it's not just like just a generic looking garlic press, right? So you want that in there. If you have packaging, play around with this stuff too. You guys have heard me talk about split testing, and I had Greg Mercer on about using Splitly, their new software that actually does the split test side by side. You might want to split test having the packaging in the image and then not having the package in the image. But you do want to have some type of branding in that image. And the only way that you can really do it within terms of service is to have it on the product. All right. So I would definitely say that. Now, on your secondary images, there's a little bit of room there, I think, that you could have not just graphics on there, because I think that could be against terms of service as well. Again, the worst that's probably going to happen is they're going to just tell you to remove the image, right? So you could play around with it if you wanted to. Me personally, I have done that on the secondary images, and I haven't had a problem where I'll have like a lifestyle picture with, maybe a little bit of writing on it. So I would say try to stay away from, using the copyright symbol and maybe your watermark on the main image. On the secondary images, you might get away with that. But I would say I wouldn't really worry too much about it, because if someone's going to hijack your image or your product, you're going to know about it. That's going to be more of a concern than them really taking your image. But then you could then report it. If you have your branding in the image, you can report it to Amazon at that point, right? So if you have your branding on the image and they're not selling your brand, well, that's clearly a violation, and that's going to be easy to prove. But if they are hijacking your listing and they're jumping on selling your product as it was you, then there's not much you're going to do at that point, because now it's going to be just them jumping on your listing, right? But if they're clearly taking your image and then putting it over on a separate listing and creating a brand new listing, you need to have your brand name somewhere on that image, and that would be on the product or on the packaging. So hopefully this helped you. Again, I don't think an image violation really will get you suspended. I think it'll get you warned and your wrist slapped, and then I think you'll have to remove it, and then I think you'll be okay. But again, that's just my opinion, and you have to do what you feel is going to be right for your listing and your business. So hopefully this helped. Thank you so much for the question, and thanks so much for being a listener. Well, hey there. Thank you so much for listening to that episode of Ask Scott. Now, that was just a highlight from one of our full episodes where I generally answer 3 to 4 questions on a podcast. If you want to go back and listen to all of the past archives of not just the Ask Scott session, but all of the full episodes where I do interviews with top Amazon sellers, people starting from scratch and building a business, if you want to listen to any of those episodes, head over to theamazingseller.com and you can find all of that over there. You can also find details there on how you can ask your own question and get it aired on an upcoming Ask Scott session and possibly see it here on YouTube or just on the podcast. All right, so definitely head over to theamazingseller.com. There's tons of resources over there for you to be able to build your e-commerce and Amazon business, so definitely go check that out. Now, I just wanted to remind you one thing before I let you go. There's a lot of information out there, and some of it is really, really good. What I want you to remember is you have to not just consume the information, you have to actually apply that information. So take this information that you learned here today and apply it to your business, and this way here you can get results. As my shirt says, I wear it almost daily. Take action. We'll see you guys.